Getting some much needed relief with the rain today, but there's still no doubt that there's a drought wreaking havoc across Vermont, and the rain today isn't going to fix it. For this week's episode of the 802 News podcast, host Mark Johnson sits down with 7th generation farmer Heather Darby to discuss her concerns about the future of farming in Vermont.
It is something farmers are used to doing, is adapting, but there's kind of short-term adapting like within a season, and then there's longer-term thoughts about, okay, now how do I need to change? Because clearly things aren't the way they used to be, right? And that's what I see a lot of now is farmers adapting based on the fact that there's very little predictability.
And Mark joins us now. Thanks for being here.
You bet.
All right, so we've been covering this drought extensively, including the impact on farmers and crops and livestock. Why does Darby say this year's drought is particularly hard on farmers?
It's because it's not just this year. It's really been the last 2 years, and this is kind of the cumulative effect of it has been really quite something. Also, it's sporadic. You know, as your weather team knows, it can be raining in one town and one town over. Even within Alburg, where Heather lives, she said there was one storm where there was 3 inches on one side of Alburg and none on the other. So it's the unpredictability of it. And coming after 2 years of flooding, then basically 3 years of drought. So it's that the weather changes.
And it's interesting because, of course, we have reported on getting too much water several of the times. Why does this then compound the worry for like the long-term farmers in Vermont?
Well, I think it just wears farmers down. I mean, when you don't have, as she said, you know, it's one thing when you get mad at your boss here at work, which I'm sure never has happened to you.
No, of course not.
But, you know, when your boss is Mother Nature, you have no control over it. So it's a grind. It's frustrating, and it's really, really hard work.
Any solutions? Like, do they have options?
Well, there's, you know, not really. I mean, there's been some efforts to try to, you know, do farm sharing. There are programs where if you want to go on vacation for a few days, somebody will help fill in for you. But it's really the relentlessness of it. And I think one of the other things that Heather talked about that was educational to me was that she really sees that there's sort of this divide between the farming community and the rest of the general population, who all want to have the farms there, but they don't want them to smell. They, you know, want to be able to drive by and get the $2 head of cauliflower. And so one of the concerns that she has is sort of what she called the siloing of the general public and the farming community. And I think she'd really like to see an effort made so that there could be better communication and a more joining hands between those groups.
And of course, you can listen to the full conversation in the latest episode of the 802 News podcast on our website or wherever you get your podcasts. Mark, as always, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.